I'm Sir Flowbojan Thunderhammer.
And I'm Teflon Frosthammer.
And I'm Cabbage Tidehammer.
And this
is
WAK.
If Amtgard knighthood means anything, you can't knife a motherfucker and keep it.
And the thing that people need to understand essentially about arts and sciences events is that your scores don't matter.
Do you want a black phoenix or a white phoenix?
Jeez, language, man. We're on
right.
a freaking podcast, for fuck's sake.
Mind-blowing experience, right?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to WAK, where we discuss topics important to the Amtgard community at large and talk with interesting people from around the foam fighting world. This week, we have on the winner of our last Weapon Master tournament, Squire Madness. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, no, you do the thing.
So, traditionally, we kick this off by asking everyone how they got into Amtgard or how you got into foam fighting, whichever happened to come first. So, Madness, tell us your story. Is it a D&D thing that got you into this, or how did you get roped into all of this foam fighting?
So I actually started out with fighting sabers, like the Ultra Sabers, as a lightest touch LARP, which was just me being really into Star Wars, and I bought an expensive Ultra Saber, so I needed an excuse to use it. So I literally Googled groups near me that were doing the saber fighting, like legitimate fighting, not just like kids in the backyard. And then after doing that for a couple years, a friend of mine in my area said, you should come out and try this Amtgard game. I said, it's got foam, so you won't go home with many black eyes and all that good stuff. And went out and spent a few months having everyone yell at me for not hitting them hard enough. Finally learned the difference in the games and kind of went from there. That was 2017, I think, when I first started playing Amtgard.
Oh, wow, you picked it up quick. Okay.
So, question for you. Did you actually ever join? Because I know that there is actually a Star Wars, whole combat system that's nationwide. Did you ever actually play in it, the lightsaber duels?
So I think it's the Saber Legion or something like that. Yeah, it's based in Minnesota. Yeah, I got the rule set practice. There was no one local that did it, so they had a weird system of you would record yourself doing the kind of like in karate, doing the step-by-step plays.
Right.
And I get to try and meet up the national groups on occasion, but I never got to that point. I just kind of lost interest after I started recording myself a time or two.
Madness is a Form 4 master.
Yeah, listen, we almost lost interest in doing the podcast after recording ourselves a time or two, so we totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally.
It took my wife videoing me one time in backyard, and I was like, wow, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you go from saber fighting to Amtgard, and that seems like a pretty quick uptake. Did you start at... It wasn't Tyrant's Thorn at the time. I don't know what your park was originally called, but did you start there or did you start elsewhere and move? How did Godric get a hold of you, I guess, is the question.
Oh, yeah. So it was a Grim Garrison, and they're still a park in Lexington. We started a new park, which is Tyrant's Thorn. So they're still there, and I think Godric moved to Kentucky about 2 or 3 months after I started playing. So we just happened to be in the same area.
That's fantastic, because I noticed the Ferrum Crux garb, again, that's becoming a thing that we see a lot of now. I'm liking it quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm loving my SC stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting the good stuff, and
now that you're getting the good stuff, how many tournaments did you have to win before you started getting the good stuff?
Well, no. So
I'm just giving you shit.
Yeah, I know, but Declan is our main guy. He's our garber. He posted a picture of himself wearing all of his nicest garb, and I messaged him right after. I said, "Hey, I need that hood."
Uh-huh.
I said, I don't know how much you're going to charge for it, or if you make one literally that's the exact same hood, but I want it. So we worked that out not 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So as Flo alluded to, the first time, well, okay, not the first time actually. The second time we really got eyes on you was at the Winner's Edge Major Kingdom level tournament. And I think you won the overall tournament. You won quite a few brackets too. I fought you a couple times. It was a great time. You went from starting in 2017 to, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years of playing, pandemic, which sort of ruined everything, and then you're winning kingdom level tournaments. So walk us through, like, are you just naturally really talented, or did you pick a lot up doing the saber combat that was applicable here?
So there's some carryover from saber contact, but from where it was lightest touch, the skill is nerfed quite a bit to not just clobber somebody in that. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's a lot of carryover. One thing that did help was Goddard picked me up early as his man at arms, and I trained 2, 3, 4 times a week, even from only having playing a few months. And then when COVID happened, I found strongman sports. Mm-hmm. So I actually lost I don't know, 40 or 50 pounds, and then put on 30 or 40 pounds again once I found strongman. So getting myself in physical shape during COVID, when a lot of people were doing the opposite of that, and then I just kept staying with it, kept pelling and practicing with anyone that would be willing to interact with other people.
Right, you get those backyard practices going, everything else that you can.
Yeah. So I was still making some gains and a lot of physical gains to keep myself ready to go for when we kick things back off.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know the first time we actually interacted with you, you came down to a fighter practice here in Knoxville, and I mean, good fighter then, but everybody was like, "Oh, Madness, he's cool, he's going to be good. He's got a way to go, but he's going to be good." And then the very next time we see you, not a month and a half later, you're winning the Kingdom level tournament. So it seems like you picked stuff up really quick, or you were holding back.
So
sandbagging
I
on
was
us.
holding back. What's funny is there's a video of me and Flo fighting at that fighter practice. And for one, he was just clobbering me. So I was trying to change what I was doing to where it was so bad that I started dicking around with something completely new that I'd never done before.
Right.
And that was the video that Vidalia had posted on TikTok.
Ah, okay.
And Warlord Sir Raven the Swift had seen that video on TikTok and messaged me and said, "Hey, I never want to see this again." He's like, "This is so bad. I know you're better than that. Walk me through what's happening and why. And we need to make sure this never comes up again." And then we came up with a few things. And basically what I did was I fought offhand single exclusively. So for the 4 months between that and the tournament, I basically did nothing at any park level, ditch field, or singles fights or anything except for fighting offhand with a single.
Wow.
And that taught me to get better with that. And then when I tried to get back into the swing of how I normally fight, there's actually so much growth there just from having stepped away from some of that when you come back to it, you realize the openings that were not there when you were holding yourself back with certain handicaps.
Yeah, this is a thing I do in real life when I get stuck on stuff or when I've sort of plateaued, is I'll step away from it and back burner it for a little bit and then come back to it. And I got to turn Jeff's mic off. And then I'll come back to it. And usually I've sort of solved the problem, or I've developed something new that I can apply to it that I didn't have before. So instead of just beating your head into a wall, you do something different, come back, and you've learned something.
Yeah, even if it's just going from fighting flow to sword and board, or getting a different board, or whatever it might be, I find it's been very helpful for me.
No, it's a very Peyton Manning approach, right? You watch the tape, you break it down, you learn, and then you improve from there. I like that.
Yeah, that video was a lot of fun because I immediately started getting comments from people afterwards. It was like, "Man, you were doing a good job sloughing Madness there." It's the normal video thing, right? Where you got the armchair cowboys that are just watching the video, who honestly, like, this is
wouldn't
one
matter if that was a real sword.
Yeah, right. One of those.
Yeah,
because it's on TikTok. That's not how real combat works. But
17-pound metal blade, I bet it cut different.
Yeah, I love.
Bro, I got a paper cut the other day and wanted to take today off. Like, real sword or not, I don't care. Hogman had something on here, and Jeff had actually had a video that this happened to as well, where Hogman talks about the fact that video is awesome for review, but then it can't be relied upon 100% either, because in Jeff's case it was him and Zeb that were fighting, right? And it straight looks like one blows a shot and then the other blows a shot.
Oh, that hand block, I saw that video.
But then when you're talking
it's because he had a black glove on and it blended in with his.
When you talk to the fighters, they're like, "No, that's not what happened at all. What are you talking about?" But no,
that one was great. He had the video on the other side. He shows clear as day.
Yeah, that it's
direct with the hand. Yeah. And there's still some kid. Oh, I bet it would. If it was a real sword, it would have gone through his hand.
It would have gone straight through his hand. Well, that's why I lost the hand, dude.
It wasn't a real sword. It was pool noodle. Yeah. So calm down, brother.
Strange.
But yeah, no. This is actually one of the things too. Godric, was it Godric or Vidalia that was filming that? I don't remember which one, but you have said a couple of the things that have become reoccurring themes for people that have wanted to improve their game. And I always try to kind of talk to our younger viewers, or just people that are looking to up their game a little bit. More practice, and film yourself, because you are going to be able to see all of the holes in your defense.
We just talked about how we don't like filming ourselves.
I know, and now I'm saying film yourself.
Beans.
Yeah, sorry. But I mean, there's no better teacher than watching yourself get hit in the same hip over and over again, or watching your arm get sniped and going, I see how they were doing it too. That was just silly of me. We used to film ourselves quite a bit in the triads for one-on-ones, for ditches, for whatever. And you can pick up quite a bit from just watching some tape on yourself.
Absolutely.
So
it's like if you see sorry, I was gonna say if you look at like the jam rats who are recording themselves all the time, you're like, oh good, this camera set up in the way of everyone else again, and then someone will post on Instagram 3, 4, 5 times a week. It's like, well, they're continually improving from it. This is why are they doing that? Well, this is one of the reasons why. They see every flaw. So if they've made a mistake in their training, they see it. So that the recording is absolutely great.
And by the way, don't think that you have to spend a whole lot of money to go out and do that either. That was filmed on a camera, and what's his name?
No shit.
Ignis from Foam Fight Club. I believe also started with just a cheapy little tripod and his phone.
His phone, okay. You said that was filmed on a camera, and I went, duh?
Yeah, the camera on the phone, which everybody has a camera on their phone, right? So you can start with really base level equipment, and then if you want to upgrade later, then you can.
Right.
So we've jumped into fighting, and I could spend the entire time talking about fighting, but I want to learn a little bit more about Madness the Man, as it were. So you get in 2017. What's the thing that most immediately draws you in? Is it just the ditch? Is it the battle game? Is it the class game? Where do you spend most of your time?
So I am one of the rare ones in the stick jock that love the tournaments, but I also love the battle gaming. Mm-hmm. So that I play Wizard and Warrior, so both ends of the spectrum on that.
I was going to say complete polar opposites.
Yeah, absolutely complete different. As soon as somebody gets used to me doing one, that's when I'll just let me go grab all my armor. Mm-hmm. Or I'll put all my armor away and grab my $3 Target Wizard hat, because nothing makes me feel better than ruining someone's day while looking like an absolute goober. Mm-hmm. But yeah, playing at Park was enjoyable, and the people there in Lexington were great. It wasn't until I went to my first Kingdom event, which was Bridge Wars 2017. It's their most competitive event. It's 10 on 10, and you're on a very narrow bridge, and you're rushing to the other side to conquer your enemy. Basic game, mm-hmm. But the competitiveness of it was amazing. I think we had 8 teams, so we had a perfect bracket for that. Ooh. And I was on nights at that time. This is one of my favorite Ampress stories for myself, is that I got off work at 4 o'clock Friday night, and my sister came over, and she's like, well, the kids are asleep already. So I just sleep on the couch and said, you go ahead and take off. So I went, and there were still people up, right? I get there at like 6 o'clock, and there's still some people up, and then others were getting up to start the day. So I took an hour nap in my car and then got going. And we had the first battle game we had was me and all my plate armor getting ready for my first Kingdom battle. Mm-hmm. And that game lasted almost 2 hours. Uh-huh. It was just a meat grinder in the middle of the field, and it was just the worst. We had about 10 minutes off before the next game, which is actually against FC. And as soon as they called lay on, I took 3 steps and threw up all over the field. I just collapsed and threw up, and I was trying to roll over to not make a mess of the field. Yeah. And like, hey man, you're done. I was getting up like, no, I'm okay. Like, no, you're not.
No.
So I just rolled over and kind of watched the onslaught that was that fight. But yeah, after that, I was like, I'm gonna come back and do better at this. But seeing there's 300 people there, 200 people there at that mm-hmm. event, and then everyone hyped up for those fights was a great atmosphere, and it was something I definitely wanted to be part of.
Yeah. So something you said there that I'm going to push back on a little bit. Some people don't like bridge battles. You said it's a bit of a simple game, whatever. That's always said with like a negative thing. I think a simple game done well is amazing. Yeah. I mean, if you look at all the games, they're all simple. Soccer is put the ball in the net. Basketball is put the ball in the net.
There's a lot of games
hockey
that
is put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
Where to put the ball.
Yeah. So like, they're all dead simple, and it's that way for a reason, because they're easy to follow, they're easy to understand, and they can be infinitely complex within their rule set. I love bridge battles for that exact reason. So I never want to talk down about the bridge battle. It seems like so many people do, like, oh, it was just a bridge battle, or all we did was a bridge battle. and I just don't see the ire for it. Like, I love bridge battles; they're fun as hell.
I like them as well, except here's my but.
Except I play Bard and shove people around all day. I know it's good.
No, I was gonna say, like, the bridge battles that I used to participate in, you had to have a lacrosse helmet. I mean, you were
wear a helmet.
Yeah,
You
get
said
chewed
fun
up
weird.
otherwise. No, that's not fun.
Okay.
Getting your teeth knocked out the back of your throat is not fun. So wear safety protection or safety gear, kids. That's the rule you take away from this.
Or just play a Bard. Just play a Bard.
But yeah,
Or just play a Bard.
But yeah, bridge battles is probably my favorite game type.
Right.
I think, and as someone who I enjoy running games. I was just on the crack team for War this past Rising Winds March event,
Mm-hmm.
and we ran 9 games over the weekend. And one of the things I enjoy is to take the most simple game you can, tweak one little aspect of it, and then let the kids run wild, right? Because the more complicated the game is, the more everyone's just going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get 100 people to listen to the rules. You're going to say, this is capture the flag, A to B, capture the other team's flag, go. And that's probably the best time they're going to have. So as simple as you can make it, I think the competitiveness and as complicated as Amcard V8 is anyways, I think the game itself should be simple. So that's why I enjoy Bridge Wars.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat as you. I like my games to be simple, and like you said, when you've got 100 people that have to listen to a 30-minute explanation of the rules,
you're done.
Yeah, 75 of them just completely went mentally away, and the 25 are mad at the 75 because they were paying attention.
Yeah. Why am I dead? You're out of bounds. There's a boundary?
Yeah.
Usually what I do is I rely on the 25 people who are paying attention to give me a simple task. Make it a game for me again, please.
Go collect the seashells and bring them back.
Yeah,
that's great.
You collect the runes. You play Scrabble with the runes. You defend the thing. Okay, cool. I can do that. Like, I can do a single thing, but give me 30 tasks and I'm lost.
Yep.
So, have you done a lot of... You haven't been in the game for very long outside of... If we're counting the COVID shutdown as...
Dark year.
Not being able to play very much. Did you get to do a lot of traveling either before or after? Has that been a big part of your career? And I ask this because I know recently you've been coming down to visit us as much as you can, and that's been really enjoyable. I didn't know how much you got to do of that before.
So, not really. In Kentucky, we're a little bit secluded. So, Rising Winds, which is where I used to be a part of that kingdom. Now I'm with Winter's Edge.
Mm-hmm.
But they would hold a lot of things in Indianapolis or up in Ohio. So, it was, you're driving a few hours to get there anyways.
Yeah.
Knoxville is actually a little bit closer to us.
Yeah.
So, I'd gone to one of your tournaments before COVID, actually. Maybe the middle of 2018, maybe a little bit later in the year. Met Zeb, and I think you were running that tournament, Flo.
Oh, that was you and I running that tournament. That was the one at...
I was wondering if that was going to be our mid-reign, yeah.
It was, yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I was hurt, as usual.
As is tradition.
Yeah, and was running that one.
Yeah, went down there, met Zeb, got a nice little slice of humble pie. So I travel some, but it's more of just I have to somewhat. So 2 or 3 hours for a day trip, I'm perfectly fine with. But I have not traveled much more than that until recently.
Nah, that's appropriate. We actually talked to a kingdom out west. I want to say Blackspire, and they said something to the effect of like, our farthest kingdom is 2 to 3 hours away, and I said,
yeah.
They said our farthest park is 2 to 3 hours away. I said, wow, our closest park's like 2 to 3 hours away. That's crazy. So it's I think that's an appropriate amount of travel time, and anything more than that's asking a lot of most people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree with that.
I want to pick up, how did you get the name Madness? Because there's a running theme where you either pick your name and get lucky or somebody assigns one to you. How did Madness come about?
I picked it earlier on. I think it was a reference to Thor having Warrior's Madness, and I would go out there like balls first with all my armor and go, and fight. And that lasted until I got very hot in the summer. And then it was a lot of wizarding, but the name stuck. There was a time when we were going to change it to Magnius because I do a gladiator theme with my role playing, but we ended up not doing that. I think Magnius may have been a little bit better, but once I started getting some awards and it all said Madness, I was like, well, I don't want to. Now people know me as Madness. It'll be confusing for everyone.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's one of those things that like you can make it iconic, right? Like it doesn't start out that way, but people get to know you as Madness, and then you can't be anything else.
It's an easy one to remember. When I meet a new person, I learn 2 or 3 names for them. I'm not going to remember any of them.
Yeah.
I found that Madness is a little bit easier for people to remember.
Yeah, I've made the mistake of learning Amthgarder's real names, and that is a very hard thing for me to code switch in between, because 8 hours of the day he is Gary, and then we have dinner, and then we do the podcast, and magically he's Flo, and that's hard for me to just move between.
And a lot of people really do not like it if you call them their Monday name on the field. They get very upset.
Yeah, I don't get that, but I mean, I guess it breaks the immersion, right? I mean, I can understand it, I guess.
I've said this before on the show, I think, but this is the whole original X-Men movie thing, right? Where he's talking, Magneto's talking to Pyro, and he says, "What's your name?" And he says, "Jason." And he says, "What's your real name?" "My real name's Pyro."
Ah, okay. Man, I haven't watched the X-Men movies in a minute.
Oh, it holds up, man. It holds up.
Good reference.
The weird sidebar. I don't think it holds up because the one thing I remember from an X-Men movie is when it's Wolverine and Sabretooth, and there's this real long shot down a hallway where Wolverine is chasing Sabretooth, and it zooms in on Hugh Jackman's face, and he goes, "Victor!" Like the most over-the-top pose, and it holds that frame for like 4 seconds, and then it just transitions to something else. And that's all I remember from the X-Men movies.
I'm confused. You haven't described not holding up.
That was terrible.
That's also the Wolverine movie. That's not the X-Men movies.
Does that?
You got to break it up into 3 very specific X-Men.
Yeah.
There's the original X-Men, the Wolverine movies, and then the new X-Men movies.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is that? I'm not okay. I'm going to agree with you because if I'm wrong, the people in the comments are going to lose their mind at me for not knowing this. So okay, fine. I treat them all as X-Men movies because I always thought Wolverine was just an X-Man, but I just hated that scene so much. That's all I remember from any of
Could
it.
I get that flex one more time?
I don't have the muscle tone to pull it off. I'm not a Hugh Jackman, but you get the idea.
Hey,
There's the thumbnail right there.
let us know in the comments if you'd like to see WAK gets jacked.
Oh God.
And it's just us in the gym the whole time.
We've got him to work out twice, and he's all about it now. It's good. Okay, I'm gonna bring us back from X-Men just a little bit because that was just made me think of it. So I actually got to fight you firsthand a couple of times. I'm gonna bring it back to fighting. I actually got to fight you firsthand a couple of times in the Winner's Edge tournament. This most recent one, is that back in March? Time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I remember from fighting you is you had one of the best attitudes on the field. Whether you won, whether you lost, you were in a good mood. And I mean, I think we did a match where I did some like, Dark Souls roll and did a dark side and killed you, and you were like, "Dude, that was cool." And then I died to a child not 2 minutes later, as is tradition. That seemed to be my day. It would be like kill somebody really good, die to a child. Kill somebody really good, die to a child. But no matter where you were on the field, no matter where I saw you, who you were fighting, you had a great attitude, and that's something that, like, I hate to say it, but not everybody brings to the field with them as part of their kit.
Yeah.
Do you have like a secret to that? Like what has you in such a good mood? Do you just enjoy fighting that much, or what puts you in that place?
So there's a few things to that. One is I do thoroughly enjoy it. Also, if I'm very nervous, my anxiety gets to me, and I cope with that with humor. So the more jokes I crack until I'm getting a little bit better, and then once I'm there and everyone's laughing, I'm a whore for laughter. So once someone's laughing at my jokes, I just keep on going.
So the funnier that madness is, the more sad madness is.
No.
Why is he shaking and telling jokes? I don't understand. But no, one of the people that I fought many times now is Big Head out of Talgador.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how competitive the setting is, he's always smiling, laughing. I've asked him like mid-fight, I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "No, I'm just having such a good time. We're good. Keep on fighting."
Nice.
So I will constantly tell myself to be like Big Head, because I think it's a mentality that I wish everyone on the field had, and they don't, especially in big tournaments where people are like, "This is my moment,"
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? Where a lot of people who are hyper competitive have this mindset of like, you are in my way. You are between me and victory. And so it's very much like I'm going to eliminate you and move on, and there is no room for joy in this moment. But every time I saw you fighting, it was big dumb grin, super happy, super friendly with everybody. And that's one of those things that, like, not only to see that, but then to see you win the tournament, I was like, fuck yeah, good for that guy. Like, this is what we want to see. So people who are maybe tournament fighters who are really competitive learn something here, because it's actually one of those things that makes the fighting environment better for everybody.
Yeah. And if I can add too, it's way back, man, I think it's been 8 or 9 months ago. This was one of the things that was covered when we had, what was his name? Anatole, when Anatole was on, that like the headspace that you get into matters. And whether it's driven by anxiety or whatever, having a positive attitude out there, not putting yourself in a space where, Madness and I are in a tournament and it's best of 3 and he wins the first fight. I've talked before about, the psychological advantage that winning the first fight in a best of 3 can have. But if you're overcoming that by saying, no, I'm going to be in this headspace where I go, okay, I'm fine. We're still having a good time. I can still be super competitive. I can still have that drive to win, but I cannot let it completely consume me. Is a really good place to be, I think.
What's funny, so I'm going to take a very nice, genuine thing you said and turn it into a terrible thing.
Yeah, you hang out with my
move.
friends a lot, I know.
Well, I laugh and joke, and I like everyone to have a good time. But I think the mentality in the fighting can be the difference maker. I don't think a lot of people are going home saying that I was the best fighter on the field that day, but I won. I think the mental game goes into things as much as anything else. So if you hear Solve is one of my favorite people to fight, and we go on the field, we'll trash talk each other quite a bit, almost nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that every little thing you say to your opponent, because it's the person across from you, we're all having fun. But
right.
At the end of the day, there's only one person that's going to win. So I think as far as your physicality and how skilled you are and how fast you are and everything else, the component of where your mind is at the time, I think is something that's forgotten by most people and absolutely shouldn't be. I think on the drive down, was that the day I got car sick? Yeah, we drove down. Goddard drove, and I was sitting in the back seat, and I was not feeling good. That halfway there, I was almost asking him to pull over so I could throw up. I was not feeling good.
Ooh.
So I got there, and it was actually Saul was like, "Hey, what's wrong?" He's like, "You're not joking." He's like, "You're never not joking. What's happening?" I'm like, "No, it's cool. We'll get there. We'll get there." So I started like forcing myself to smile and make jokes again, because it's what I like to bring to the table. I like to bring an atmosphere,
Yeah.
those magic friendly vibes. But also, if you look sick or look hurt, sometimes people jump on that, like, "Oh,
Yeah, they
I
sense
got
weakness.
it today."
Yeah.
Like they're like vultures.
Mhm.
Not saying everyone Winner's Edge is a vulture, no, but every competitive fighter kind of is a little bit.
Yeah, it's that find any advantage and absolutely exploit it until you've won kind of thing. I think I just don't have the mindset for tournaments, because I show up and I'm like, I'm not here to win anything. Every match that I win, I'm like, that's a little gift. That's fun. That's nice.
Oh,
But that's still better than someone who comes in and they're so stressed out about the fight that they just clinch up and you get slaughtered.
Yeah, they're like, you placed for the great bracket, and I'm like, I didn't even bring a great weapon. That's cool.
yeah.
Let's fun.
I am definitely one of the people that when I come to a tournament, I come to win. But it's not to the exclusion of everything else, right? I have a rule that I have kept for myself for quite some time. If you don't have the respect of your colleagues, of your bros, of the people that have come up with you in this game that we play, then you don't have anything. So if I cannot let my mindset take me to somewhere where I cannot shake the person's hand that is in the ring with me, right? That's a step too far. And you're right. I mean, I see so many people that they get angry, and sometimes it's just that they're angry at themselves. They're not mad at you. They're not mad at anything else, but they're angry enough at themselves that it carries over into the next bracket, and they don't do as well as they should in a bracket that they should have otherwise either top 8'd or even won, because they've put themselves in this horrible headspace. And I've said this several times before on the show, but we don't live in bubbles, and what you bring to the table does not just affect you, right? Yeah. It's affecting every person in line. It's affecting every person that you're out there fighting. And if you do it for no other reason, do it for the reason that you just now mentioned. Showing that level of anger is, when stripped down to its barest components, a level of weakness that I will exploit. I will try to make you... I'm not going to say anything to you. If we don't know each other, I'm not going to tease you any more than I would anyone else, right? But I will try to do things to spike that anger through our fighting. Because if I can get you mad, then you fight dumb. Yep. So, and I'm not talking about you, Madness. I'm talking about you in the royal sense. You is whoever I'm fighting.
But also
time,
me.
Right?
As part of that, if I'm getting upset, it's like, man, I keep dying to that shot. What's going to happen? I'm either going to overcompensate to that shot, or I'm going to do something else stupid. Like, well, let me try this trick. Let me try spinning. Spinning's a good trick.
Yeah.
The Zeb school of sword and board.
This is with the Ooga Booga.
Yeah.
So, favorite weapon combo? What is? Because I think you placed in every bracket. I think so. I couldn't readily pick out like, oh, that's a sword and board fighter, that's a Florentine fighter. What's your favorite weapon combo?
So, I've always been best with great, but it's also my least favorite category. And if it never happened again in a tournament, I'd be pretty happy because I have never gotten hurt more than when I get hit with a great weapon. Right.
Fair.
Whether it's been my tooth was knocked in with a great, I've been hit in the back of the head with a great. I had somebody core their spear on my throat and I collapsed, not being able to breathe. Even just the innocent shots that just, they got me between the legs again.
Uh-huh.
But sword and board is my bread and butter. It's what I enjoy fighting with most.
What about in battle games? What's your favorite weapon? Because this can be very different from
when you're
bracket
wearing
fighting.
full plate, right?
So if I'm wizard, I have a single with me because I want to be able to fight.
Yeah.
When I'm not, I do battle mage. I just run nonstop to get my cardio in. But as a warrior, I almost never use a shield, ever. I'm either fighting flow so I can utilize my AA and then get off rapid shots while someone's trying to hit me 7 times in the chest, or I have a crushing breaking pole. And it's one of the two almost exclusively, depending on the rule set for that game.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on like weapon combos as far as like I love fighting pole. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of cardio for some unknowable reason. But I have so much time throwing a stab to go, oh no, I'm sorry for the face. Because I like as soon as that leaves that chamber, like it's just gone and oh god, what's gonna happen? So yeah, I can echo that. It scares me a little bit.
Do we still have the video of your
when we were jugging?
Impaling hero to the ground?
You would be the only one that has that video. And
so
I don't
yes,
know.
we do still have that video.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, you got to be a little mean fighting pole.
Yeah, you don't have friends pole.
Poles aren't people.
Yeah, poles aren't people. Thank you.
The most upsetting part.
Poles aren't people.
Yeah. The most upsetting part is I started getting better at pole when a friend of mine pointed out, hey, everybody here signed a waiver. And I said, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, a little upsetting, but it's not, it did
I've
help.
heard that a time or two.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, you signed a waiver. Like, I know I did.
Yeah. I signed a waiver. Now the pole goes, woo.
So, other interests. Amtgard is bigger than just fighting, and you were actually belted under a Serpent Knight. Do you do any ANS in the game? Anything like that?
Yeah. So I actually first started talking to Goddard because I enjoyed doing paracord stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My warrior sash, actually my wizard sash too, are both paracord that I've done. And then I've got 3,000 or 4,000 paracord projects that are halfway finished, sitting at the house, like every good paracord artist.
Right.
Oh yeah, here I got my whole stash is right up here
Here we
behind
go.
our behind the belt fibers.
Yeah. So garb is the only thing I've not really messed with much.
Good
I've
man.
done some armor. I've actually got the armor in my warrior's kit now is cut out of a truck bed. I thoroughly enjoy showing that off because it still doesn't look good. It kind of looks like it's cut out of a truck bed, but the story behind it is phenomenal, right? It's like, parked that bad boy, took the truck off, cut up my angle grinder. Now it's 6 points.
Still got the rhino liner on it.
Yeah.
What's it weigh? Like 40 pounds? Weighs a lot. Weighs a lot. Could be less.
See that right there? Genuine Ford leaf spring.
Exactly.
Yeah, I dig that.
And I just recently started getting into drawing maps. Started beginning of last year, like D&D style maps, kind of the thing you see in a Tolkien book, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've enjoyed those a lot, even though it's got nothing to do with Amcard. I've entered a couple things because just to show off.
I mean, cartography is cool, and it's one of those things that there's a lot of things that don't directly have anything to do with Amcard, but are so tangentially related. They're like we're so deep into just generic fantasy geek culture that anything that is adjacent to that, I still count. We have someone in our kingdom, Kellians, who does quite a bit of leather and metal work. He'll do like knives and stuff like that. He makes the handles themselves. And is that technically Amcard related? No, not technically, but yes, definitely.
I'd bet maps are more. Yeah. You could probably find any given lemur at about 9 o'clock on a Saturday evening at an Amcard event and just give them a map and put an X on it somewhere and just send them on their way. I guarantee you something cool would happen. I don't know what. They're going to bring you something. Good luck with whatever they bring you, but that'll make some fun for a lot of people, I bet.
That's true. I did get to make Rising Wind's main site is Camp America, in Ohio, and had the opportunity to draw that out on a map for them.
Oh,
which was a fun project. The only problem with it was the time it took for me to find out everything that was labeled, because there was half a dozen cabins and half a dozen bunkhouses, and then a couple maps they had from before all had things labeled differently. Like they would go 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, and the next one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12. I'm like, wait. So, oh well, and then one cabin burned down, so they built a new one. Okay, which one burned down? 5. So what's the new one? 4. It doesn't make sense. Now it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. Maybe. Okay.
Maybe
these labels are going to be wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a good time.
This is cabins numbered by Teflon. He's just set it up to troll.
I was gonna say it's where like the person who sets it up has a policy and then they leave and somebody else comes and doesn't have the same policy, and so eventually you end up with a cabin 1, 2, 3, A, gold, blue, 7.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know.
Cabin starfish.
Yeah.
Nothing's labeled at site. It's not you walk in, you look up the big 1 on the cabin door. It's just like, we just call it 1 for the purpose of telling people what cabin they're going to.
Yeah, you're just praying when you open that cabinet door. It's your bros behind the door and not some other random part. You're like, hey, okay, never mind.
Good to meet you. I'm going to leave so you got clothes on. Sorry.
Yeah, you all sleep naked. That's cool. Anyway.
I've been to that event.
The more you know.
The more you know. One more question about weapon combinations, too, because I know that I unfortunately was on a work trip when in March when you came down for the tournament. But I was told you got to play around with some weapon combinations that you haven't fought in a tournament before. And this is the difference between the rule set that Rising Winds uses for their tournaments and the rule set that we use for ours. So
I didn't know this at all.
Yeah, so how did that go?
So I think you're talking about the Madu and the flail.
Well, not just the motto and the flail, but also that Rising Winds restricts like their single and things like that to shorts, and we do not. So you were able to use longs in a tournament for the first time. Yeah. Was that a big adjust? And that's also in the video that you were talking about earlier. I believe you were using a short in that as well. So at least up to that point, I assumed that was kind of a bread and butter style for you. Was it a big shift to move over to longer weapons?
It was. I found out, I think a week before the tournament, that it could go up to 48 inches. And my wife has a 42-inch sword. So I was like, is it still good? Is it blown out? You got a cover to it? And I was messing around with it. And I think I pulled Goddard aside maybe 10 minutes before the tournament started. And I was like, hey, can you fight me for a minute? See if I want to try and do this. And after 10 minutes, I was like, let's see what happens. And I ended up getting first place in single. So
welcome to the dark side, brother. We've been waiting for you.
I actually went the complete opposite direction from you. So my fiance Vidalia told me that it was shorts only for the single portion. So I show up to the tournament and I'm like, fuck, I don't have a single sword. So I literally got Beefy on the phone and I was like, hey, I will buy one of your tourney sticks. If you have a 36 in stock, like even a 32, I'll buy it just so I can fight in this bracket. He's like, oh, you have $50. I was like, okay, cool. So I fought the first 2 runs through short sword, 36-inch short sword, And then finally I looked over and I saw long sword, short sword, long sword, and I said, is this not a shorts only bracket? And they said, no, you can use up to 48. I said, motherfucker, you shit. So I just chucked my stuff to the sideline, ran, picked up my 48s, came back out. I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, for any of the other kingdoms in Amtgard out there, your kingdom may do this a little bit differently. The way that we do it is anything that says sword in it is sword. Anything that is 48 and under. So you can use a long in our sword and board, our single, our Florentine. Open, of course, can be anything. And that's just, I think that's how we've always ran it. We picked up part of that from Florida, though I think Florida now does limit the length for single and sword and board. I've always found it weird. I've always found it weird the kingdoms that limit the sword length myself. I don't know the reason.
Well, I mean, it's an arms race, right? You're kind of forcing everyone to fight with a long sword.
I mean, kind of, but I fight with a long sword, and Zeb does not, and still consistently.
And he is a warlord, so fair enough. But
sure.
I feel like that's also the exception that proves the rule.
I mean, Gun also doesn't.
In single, I used the long. In flow, I used one long, one short, and in sword and board, I used my short. So
yeah,
being able to switch it up, I did so some, but in sword and board, I wanted to have that speed from a shorter one. I think my short is actually 34 that I use in sword and board.
Yeah.
Man, that's one of those things, like sometimes we'll see people that swear by using a specifically 34-inch short, and it always confuses me. But
Teflon uses his elbows are in bad shape right now, but he used a 34. He just said that he felt like he had more control.
That's fair
with it. So
I just don't know if I can, if you can bring a 36 and I can bring a 47, then I've got, that much more reach on you, which, I mean, maybe isn't actually useful, but feels more useful to most people, I would say.
That was the point that I was getting at, is that I am not saying that using a longsword does not affect the bracket. It definitely does. And we have more people that use something, usually a 37 or a 38 in our kingdom. The point that I was getting at by pointing out that Zeb and Gun and some other people don't use that is that it doesn't seem to affect the top end very much.
Yeah.
I grew up using 40s, right? And they didn't, and so I still use 40s, and they don't. They play their game, and they do it well. That's why I never understood why kingdoms really cared, is because in those middle brackets, it'll definitely shuffle people around, but when you get towards the top, it doesn't seem to make that much of a difference. Unless, you have someone that comes out of kingdom, learns that you can do it, and then sweeps your entire kingdom by picking up a 42. I'm just saying it could happen. I'm just saying it could happen.
You're not the first person to have said it about the tournament.
Yeah.
I want to rewind just a second, because I think a minute ago you just tacitly admitted to using a Madu and a flail.
Yeah. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, we got to rewind a little bit. So was that like the first time you've gotten to use that combo in a tournament, or was it just like you just wanted to mess around?
So I actually 7 days before your all tournament was Rising Winds tournament. That was my first kingdom win, and I used the Madu and the flail in that one. And I had so many people badgering me about it. I was like, I'm going to do this in every possible scenario I can for the rest of my Amtgard career.
Mm-hmm.
So I come down, I'm going to do the Madu, I'm going to do the flail. The Madu, if you don't see, it's not a traditional Madu. The punch is only 12 inches wide, and then it's a 5 foot long downswing.
Yeah, you're
so
using it for range threat. Yeah.
Yeah. And I catch a couple of blocks with it. The fact that it's Madu, not a down.
Yeah,
it's not overly complicated, and a lot of people, especially in Winter's Edge, I had a lot of people that were like, "Okay, I've seen downswing before. I know how to react to this."
Right.
But then it's everyone's favorite thing to say is, "Oh, you flail. That's why you won."
Okay.
Hey,
right.
get good, scrubs.
Yeah, I was going to say. And
So this has been something that I have traveled at one point to all of the kingdoms that existed in the continental United States. We did a lot of traveling back in the day. That's not true now. We've had a lot of kingdoms that were added since then. But one of the and it was rare that I ran across people that would use flail in tournament or something. But it was because of the mentality that was being set by the few. Right. This was a time where the top of the ladder was controlled by exactly 36-inch swords, exactly 30-inch boards. Everything was very, very standardized, with some rare exceptions. Like Sparhawk would fight can opener, would fight downspear and longsword or something like that. But one of the things that I picked up as I started traveling around more and more, and the culture kind of started shifting away from that, it's open for a reason. Flails are a legal part of our game. So you can be mad that you died. You can be mad that people don't use them at your park regularly because you've shamed them into not using them. But if you're going to get mad at dying to a flail in a tournament, get more people to fight flail so that you know how to block it. Hinged weapons aren't some unknowable mystery that you'll never be able to figure out.
Add one extra inch of padding to your board. I don't fucking understand the problem. Like, it's that easy.
Step half an inch back farther than you normally would.
Like, it's not that hard.
You like pivot instead of moving.
Yeah.
Like,
there's actually a million good ways to beat a flail, and then you ruin its only advantage.
block the first strike, and then they're done.
Stab them.
Yeah. If you're
I
mad about
encourage you
flails,
to stab them. But yeah, I mean, this is it. What you said is definitely something that's come up in the past, and I'm glad that your response was to say, yeah, you know what, screw them. I'm just going to keep killing them with it until they figure out how to beat me. And if I end up on the other side as a warlord from Flail, then I end up on the other side as a warlord with Flail. Cool.
It's because it helped me win. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just fun because we have a guy at our park that fights Madu Flail pretty often, and so it's one of those things where I'm standing in line watching you mow through people who have not seen this combo, and I'm like, please put me in pit 2. I want to go in pit 2. I know how to fight this. Put me in pit 2, pit 3. Fuck! Fine. I'm going to pit 3, and then I go in the back of the line, and I'm watching, and you're still going through the line. I'm like, I want to be in pit 2. Put me in pit 2. I just want to. I'm telling people, I'm like, just do this and this. Do this and this. Just do this and this. If you step, the spear doesn't matter so much. You just do this and this. You just sweep it out of the way, step in, and they're like, put me in pit 2. Losing my mind watching this happen.
Stinkfoot moment. He's gonna do the thing, just blocking.
I mean, I watched you not trying to be a dick, but like I watched you throw the same combo on 6 different people, and nobody learned from watching it happen. And I'm like, you people aren't paying attention. He's doing this. It's the same. I watched Chuck do it in another tournament.
I was gonna say this is a very Chuck.
Put
thing.
me in the ring with Chuck. Put me in the ring with Chuck. I know how to deal with this. I can win one. Come on.
What's funny, you touched on something very important there when you were talking about telling you just do this and this. Like, that's all you have to do, right? Because if you're in an Ironman, especially it was 30-minute Ironmans for that, which was phenomenal. I actually loved that so much. That if you use your entire moveset in the Ironman, you got nothing left in practice. So if you're fighting people, you're like, okay, I know this simple opener may get a kill. All right, got it. If you can get through 6 people with only throwing one shot, then by all means, get through 6 people by only throwing one shot.
Yeah, and for the people in line, if you're one of those people that you're starting to get up there in your fighting ability, you've reached the point where you can start reading the fighters that you're going up against. Watch the people that are in there. I'm going to make you a promise. That opener that they throw on the 2 people in front of you is going to be the same opener that they throw on you. With rare exceptions. If you know each other, so they're fighting you, the person, not you, the entrant that just now stepped in, who could be anyone. It may be different, but that was one of the golden rules that we always followed in my fighting company is pay attention to what people are throwing, especially in the Ironman portions, because whatever their favorite opener is, probably what they're going to open with on you, and if they kill you with it, they're just going to keep throwing it.
Yep. I'd seen, I think it was Gunn, might have been on your all's podcast talking about putting opponents into tier rankings when he comes across them in the Ironman. Yeah, I think he's on that in the Ironman.
Yeah.
So you're going to throw your 80% shot, but then I know if Zeb is the next person on my line, then maybe I should try to not be like, okay, well, he's seen me do this the last 5 fights. Let's try and take this. I don't want to say more seriously, but you know what I mean. Let's
throw it as a fake. Throw that opener as a fake and then kill him some other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's all part of it. You gotta control everyone in the line as much as you have to control the fighter across the field.
Yeah, I mean, so much of that is sort of having a game plan, right? I can kill that newbie because it's his second day out. I can kill him with this super easy combo. And because this is a 30-minute Ironman, I'm gonna be tired, so I need to save all the energy I can, right? But we've also heard, almost every Sword Knight that we've spoken to or every Warlord that we've spoken to mention the fact that they really only have 3 or 4 good shots in their repertoire, right? They have
Everyone does.
Yeah, hip
Everyone
wrap,
does.
shoulder wrap, high cross. Those are my 3 shots that I'm great at. So everything I do is going to be an opener or a gap closer with one of those shots and then some kind of follow-up, right? So it's not bad to have 1 or 2 or 3 good shots as long as they're good shots.
Mm-hmm.
You only need 3. I've always been told that you only need 3 shots to be a warlord. And if you're a lefty, you need 4 because everyone's a 3-shot lefty, so you need that 4. That's your own.
That's the differentiator. Hold on.
Yeah. Are you counting Jay's shots?
Counting yours.
I fight left-hand
hip wrap.
dominant Florentine.
Hip wrap.
I'm a righty in everything else
Right.
that I do, but I fight left-hand dominant Florentine because I can take Boardman's arms.
Yep. You also changed how I fight Florentine and Tyrant. Literally the one day I won't stop. I don't want to blow up if you go too much. But literally the one day I came down there and fought you Flo was enough to change how I fight Flo after.
I think I can get on board with this. Most of the true you don't, but most of the true lefties I know do have a 4th shot somewhere in that ring. You have a 4th shot, but it's because you fight Florentine. It's with your right hand.
Yeah. My
So,
chop.
yeah.
My over chop, yeah.
Okay. No, I buy that. I was sitting here thinking through all the lefties I know because we have. Is our park more lefties now than righties?
So our park is so weird.
Because I genuinely
everybody
think we
should
have
come, by
more
the way.
lefties at this point, and so I'm thinking of all
We
the
do.
left-handed people I know.
So Beef was talking about this the other day. We really do. This isn't a joke. We have so many nights at our park, which we've talked about on the show before, is kind of weird. Now let me add to the weirdness of our park. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lefties, primary, like full-time lefties at our park now.
You're the devil.
Yeah, right?
The park here in Lexington's like that. It's just, for some reason, there's so many lefties. I'm like, what happened? Did your parents know and they raised you anyways?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Do I count as like half a lefty?
Eh,
Like 0.5?
you got a solid left, so yeah, we can give it to you.
Sorry, I had to grab a drink there. So one more. We're starting to get towards the end, but I want to ask you one more thing before we. I want to give you a chance to tell a fun, funny, or crazy story. But we covered fighting a little bit. We covered ANS a little bit. Have you done any kind of leadership or politics or anything like that, or have you left that to the other crazy people to take care of and or just having fun with it?
So as far as being a part of the monarchy, I've done a lot at the local level, champion, monarch, regent, some of that good stuff keeps the park running because I actually think that park champion is the most important role in the game.
Yep.
Agreed.
Because if you can't get people playing weekly and having a good time, then no one's going to play Amcard.
Yep.
But other than that, I haven't done anything at a higher level in those roles. I think I'm up to 7 roses now from helping run events and doing things, as well as maybe 5 or 6 Smiths from the games.
Nice.
I was the autocrat for a winter war that we had, which was a Grand Duchy event before the end of the world. And that was a good time. That was just a day event. But yeah, so I've kept my nose clean of a lot of the drama and tried to just do some events here and there to make sure everyone's still having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. And so I would like to thank you, since you're going to be doing Winter's Edge stuff now, for also coming and running all of that stuff for us. Well, good night, folks. It was a good show.
No, I didn't get a funny story. Hold on.
No, seriously, we're always looking for people that like running battle games and things like that. We've talked on the show multiple times about different ways that you can get into to doing that. And ways to help out, but it really is one of the most important jobs is setting up a fun time and being able to take some honest criticism from people and get yourself better at it.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's also a lot to be said of someone who's run the last 6, 8, 10, or 30 things in a row being so exceptionally burnt out that they don't enjoy Amcard anymore, and someone who can come in and run an event at some point to give them a break means the world to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's important to try and do that. Right now, my goals right now is Warlord and Battlemaster. By the end of the year is my goal looking forward.
Hell yeah, I'm here for it.
I'm sitting at 7 orders of battle right now because the problem was we started a new park, So I was a freehold when everyone was getting caught up
Yeah.
when it came out. So our freehold, I got my 2. It was like, yes. And then Vidalia gave me up to 7.
Yep.
So I'm very excited here in a couple weeks to get to come down to the April event and put on my doofy wizard hat and run around, yell at people.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'll be at that one.
Will you?
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
on Easter weekend.
Yeah, it's on Easter weekend.
No.
Yep.
Just
I'm
awesome.
leaving Saturday night. I was like, I will go do everything and then just come home at like 3.
Yeah.
I can do that.
That's just me subtly floating that the event is Easter weekend.
Yeah. So is this going to come out this Friday?
Yeah, I can make that happen.
Yeah, let's come out. So, Winter, if you want to come to a fun event, the event that we've been talking about just now is
Coronation, and it will be the weekend of Easter, which is
April 15th, 16th, and 17th at Fall Creek Falls. We'll put the links in the description.
Fall Creek Falls, the one right there in Chattanooga. Right.
It's not in Chattanooga; it's over there. But yeah, it's close. It's like
Geography's my
it's an
weakest
hour
suit.
away
Okay.
from us. So, yeah, it'll be at Fall Creek Falls State Park, group campsite B, probably B. Follow the link. Don't listen to Flo. We'd love to have you. It's going to be a lot of fun. I believe that we're having some guests visit from out of Kingdom.
Yeah.
That are going to be there to have fun with us and to hype up the upcoming keep.
Yeah.
On the Borderlands.
And there will also be a knighting. This is public knowledge, right?
It's public knowledge.
Okay, I don't have to go through and edit this out. Yeah, there will be a knighting as well for Squire Cade Moonshadow.
Yes.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Nice.
Too.
Yeah, so he will be elevated to...
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. Now, you have not made it out of the woods. We still need to hear your craziest, funniest, or wildest Amthgard story that you can legally tell.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, I already told the one, the bridge wars, me ralphing everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Another good one. Another story. My all-time favorite game objective in Amthgard is heavy object, where it's an actual heavy object.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Not
a heavy
where,
bag.
Oh, you have to walk slow. Yeah, like at park, I bring out it's a 140-pound punching bag, and it's just however you move it, right?
We squat.
You're like, do you need 2 people? It's like, if you need 2 people, we just I like to nonchalant set it up in that manner. I think it was 2019 before the Bridge Wars. We had a couple guys from FC come to GG there in Lexington. We had a bunch of people show up, 20, 25 people. We ran a 10v10 battle game where it was just a bridge battle, but with the heavy object, you had to take the other team. So I'm running around doing my battle mage thing, but I would just grab the punching bag. I had it over my shoulder, and I'm still just running full speed doing battle mage things. And at one point, I was about to get stabbed, and it was going to be brutal. So I dropped my sword and grabbed it. And I did a little flick of it, and it did one good turn, landed, and slid about 40 feet straight forward into the goal. I was like, I'm dead, but still got the point. Absolutely worth it.
Yeah, caber toss counts, right?
Yeah, I was like, the slides, you never said slides don't count. And if I know anything about Amthgard, that means they do count.
Yep.
Yeah, right. The what's Jay's favorite line? Show me in the rules where I can't do that.
Yeah, show me in the rules where it says I can't.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, Donnie. You're just an asshole.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, hey, Madness, thank you so much for coming on. This was a lot of fun. It's good to meet you. I wish I could have been in the tournament there with you, but look forward to seeing you and everyone else who's listening at the Winter's Edge Coronation. Is this Coronation Force? Yep. Yeah, it's Coronation, which is going to be at Fall Creek Falls, April 15th, 16th, and 17th. You're welcome for the massive amount of notice that we've given you.
Huge notice.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Great time.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube or Spotify to get notified about new episodes. And make sure to follow us on Facebook for announcements and more.